I'm gonna show you exactly how to get a flat stomach in 16 weeks without doing any crash diets while I worked a full-time job and actually spending less than an hour in the gym every single day. I literally tried everything from keto to carnivore. Just struggled so much with what to do, what exactly worked for me to get the best results that I needed to get. But the biggest thing I struggled with is just actually staying consistent with one thing over time because I just didn't have the discipline. To prove to you that I'm a real person, my name is Evan Tressel. I was over 200 pounds and I just hated the way I looked. But eventually over time, it got to the point where I hated so much where I was stuck at the point that I was, where that pain hurt me so much that the pain of doing everything else, waking up earlier to get the workouts in, meal prepping, maybe eating things that I didn't really want to enjoy or just working out when I didn't want to, that pain was more okay with me doing that than actually staying stuck is what flipped the switch with me. And all these lessons that I'm gonna show you here is exactly what I learned along the process to actually make it easier for me, which includes my sleep and my stress actually making more of a negative effect on me than I thought, ignoring hidden calories that was in my food that I didn't actually even know I was eating, as well as the mistakes I was making every weekend that put me back in the same spot that I was the week before. So if you're actually finally serious about losing the fat, watch to the end of this video and I'm gonna break it down all for you. So I'm gonna start off with the most important one, which is just mindset. I used to sleep in every single day, get up, scroll on my phone for about half an hour to an hour, and then throughout the day, of course, scrolling more. And then these things that I was doing was just making me become the person that I didn't want to be, but slowly over time, it was just getting worse and worse. But the truth is, I wanted this change so bad, but the actions that I was doing every day didn't reflect that because I would be on my phone, I'd be watching TV, I'd be eating and ordering junk, but what was happening? I wanted this thing, but I was doing these things, right? The negative thing. First off, your brain wants you to be safe, not happy. That's why you've been so stuck and comfortable at the point you are right now. Your brain, when you want to do certain things, the harder things in life, what does your brain tell you? It gives you every excuse not to do those things. So the first thing you need to do is rewire your brain. And this is exactly what I did to do that. I actually started going to bed earlier and waking up earlier. And by doing those things that I didn't like to do, I was able to build that consistent routine. I love this quote: early to bed, early to rise makes a man young, healthy, and wise. And by implementing this, getting up early and doing something that I didn't want to do, whether or not it was going on a walk, getting outside, doing whatever, getting up early, the one thing that I did not like doing at all, starting off your day with something hard makes everything else that day easier. You can start implementing that same mindset with the other things that you have in your life. Maybe going to work out, maybe eating cleaner, maybe going on a walk, maybe going on a run, like whatever. Implementing that in your day-to-day will make you that man that you want to become. Lesson number 2, I just need the right hack or shortcut. I used to chase every little hack on the internet, right? Doing all this research, trying to find what worked for me, but it worked for everyone else, but why didn't it work for me? I was so confused. I tried carnivore, I tried keto, I tried fasting, I tried all that stuff that I'd see on the internet working for these other people, and I compare myself and I'm like, why am I not making those results? And then I realized after a couple weeks of trying this for a month or so, what happened? I went right back to square one, ended up gaining the weight back and just stayed in that body that I hated. The truth is though, fat loss isn't about hacks or these little tips or whatever. It's about just finding one thing that works and staying consistent with it. You gotta think about it. Like, you do not get good at anything unless you stay consistent with it. Why do you think, like, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo, the professional soccer player, right, that put in all that work to get there, right? If he tried swimming and then biking and then baseball or whatever. No, he found one thing that he loved. He stuck to it, stayed consistent, and then look where he is now. All that hard work over the years added up. You gotta realize though, just one great week isn't gonna completely change your physique. Like, eating one salad isn't gonna get you shredded, and eating one burger from McDonald's isn't gonna make you fat. You gotta look at it in that same context. I want you to find your calorie target. So figure out what your calorie maintenance is, and then you're gonna go at least 300 to 500 below that, and you're gonna stick to that for 4 weeks consistently, not missing a day. Even if you eat out, then you gotta fit it into whatever you're eating, and then you're gonna see results. Then you're gonna pick 3 to 4 times to work out a week. Anytime throughout the week, just fit it in, whatever fits your schedule best, but do not miss them. Make sure you're hitting every muscle group, no missing legs, nothing like that. And then you're gonna pick one daily habit that you probably don't like doing. taking a cold shower in the morning, going on a walk first thing you get up, even putting your phone down and not looking at your screen right when you wake up. These daily habits over time are gonna build you to become a better, more disciplined man. Because when I finally stopped chasing that magic trick, that new hack, that new tip, stuck to one thing consistently, I was able to get the physique that I've been wanting for all these years without feeling unmotivated throughout the process or too overwhelmed. Lesson 2 is weekends were my fat loss killer. I thought that if I ate clean Monday to Friday and I was good throughout that process, who cares the weekend? I was good for the week. I can just eat whatever on the weekend, it cancels out or whatever, however you think in your head, right? Because I would think that same way. I think I'm good, let me eat whatever I want. Let me go drink, let me go eat, whatever. So my weeks were pretty clean. I had a structured meal because I was busy with work and I'd actually meal prep and I'd eat those foods. But once I got to the weekend, I would go out with buddies and I go out for drinks and food, of course, and then family comes around and it's another gathering or whatever, and then I'm eating more food then, just going out, and always something was coming up. I always had new plans, new holiday, eat this, eat that, go drink this. And the thing was, it wasn't exactly what I was eating or drinking on the weekend, it was how I was actually fitting it with everything else I was supposed to eat and maintain to get to my goal of being leaner. This is exactly what I want you to do. On those days where you're gonna eat out, do this, do that, you're gonna save your calories for that certain meal. So anytime I eat out, knowing I don't know exactly what I might eat that day, right? Because sometimes things come up, family gatherings, you don't know what's gonna be there, right? Rule of thumb, save 800 to 1,000 calories before you go out for that meal. Throughout the day, think high protein but calorie dense foods. More Greek yogurt, tuna here, some chicken, eggs. So you're actually getting more protein for less calories. Then once it gets to that meal, you have like 1,000 calories saved up. Then eating that burger, eating that fries, eating some pasta, whatever it is, isn't gonna kill your progress because you already prepared yourself for that meal, for the drinks. Because if you do not do this, you are gonna stay stuck in the same cycle you are right now, where you're eating decent throughout the week and then it gets to the weekend and then you eat, you overeat, you binge eat, whatever it is. It's just gonna keep being in that cycle that you hate. 6 months later, hey, why am I still stuck in the body that I hate? Because you're doing it to yourself. You can still eat these foods, but you need to actually be prepared for it. I'm telling you, once I made these switches where I was actually prepared for the weekend, I started losing fat like crazy and I was like, holy crap, I was never seeing progress this quickly. Lesson 3, more cardio I do, more fat loss I'll have. Sorry to break it to you, but that it's not true at all. I'm gonna use one of my guys, Chad, as an example. So Chad has been working with me for about 6 months now. Before he came to me, he was working out about a couple years on the treadmill every single day. At the end of his work shift, he would go late at night, do an hour of cardio every single day. For years he did this, but he looked the exact same from day 1 to day whatever that is after 2 years. So we had to make a change because cardio does not flatten your stomach. Building muscle and actually controlling your food intake does. And don't get me wrong, cardio of course burns calories, but it's easy to overeat them back without even knowing exactly. You have to realize as well, you might be like, oh, I have such a slow metabolism, right? It might not work for me. That is exactly what my guy Chad thought as well. When you build more muscle, it is actually easier to cut down because your metabolism actually heightens the more muscle you build, actually allows your body to burn more fat without doing more exercise. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna implement 20 minutes of cardio every single day. I don't care what kind of cardio it is, just do it light. So it could be running, biking, playing pickleball. I don't care what it is, just do 20 minutes of light cardio and actually do something you enjoy. Pairing that with a consistent calorie deficit, so you're not wasting hours of doing cardio, you're just doing that. Lastly, I want you to take a photo of yourself every Saturday morning from front angle, side, and back angle of the mirror to see what you look like. And that is how you are gonna track your progress every week. You're not gonna track it by how sweaty your shirt is at the end of the workout, because if you're not making progress at least every 2 to 3 weeks, you're not seeing a difference. I'm not gonna say every week, every 2 to 3 weeks, then you're doing something wrong and you need to change it because you're just wasting your time and efforts that you're actually already implementing right now. Lesson 4, as long as I eat and train right, I'll lose fat, right? That is true, but you have to realize that sleep has such an important factor on it and is something that I neglected for years. When I used to work these long hours and early shifts, I used to stay up so late that actually just killed my energy for that next day as well. It was just so easy for me to binge eat at the end of the night because I was up so late just doing stupid stuff like scrolling on my phone, watching a new TV series, whatever it was just not something that would actually make me better the next day. because sleep and stress actually control hormones that actually dictate your fat loss. Not only will you have those hunger cravings later at night when you're staying up, but as well, it's actually studied that later that next day when you wake up, you're actually be more prone to having those cravings still, even with less sleep. Having more stress as well with less sleep actually equals to high cortisol levels, which means that you're actually going to have more of those cravings as well. So less sleep means high cortisol levels, means more stress, which means more hunger, which means more eating, which just means gaining more weight, which we don't want. Because you can train as hard as you can and eat clean every single day, 7 days a week. But if you don't have that recovery for your body to actually get back to its working state so it can actually build muscle and actually cut down the fat, you're not actually gonna be able to see that consistent progress. You're actually gonna have less results in the gym, not getting stronger. So I want you to aim for 6 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. I would say 7 to 8, but I'm gonna be realistic. You're probably working a busy job. You probably have a lot of other priorities. Sometimes 7 or 8 isn't on the table. So at least 6 hours every single day. The big thing is I don't want you to be on your screen beforehand. I put my phone outside of the room, or I'll put it on my desk so it's away from my bed. I also want you to implement an evening walk before you go to bed. Not only does it just kind of relaxes your mind, but it clears your head. If you had a stress day, you had a crazy day, it's always good to just be with yourself, no phone, reflect on your day and what you want to do tomorrow and what you want to work towards for that next day. Honestly, sleeping is one of the best fat loss hacks that no one literally talks about. It's just not talked about. You hear all eat this, do this, do this. No one really talks about how important sleep is. Get your sleep, find a consistent sleep routine that actually works for you. You'll start to realize that those cravings are gonna go away and you're actually gonna be able to have more energy throughout the day to do the things that you want to do. Lesson number 5, I don't eat that much. It must be genetics. I have a slow metabolism. I used to tell myself that for the longest time, but to be honest with you, I was neglecting those hidden calories. Whether or not it was me adding oil into my pan, was adding sauce to my meals, or I was just grabbing that bagel before work. Those little things add up over time. That vanilla frap you get from Starbucks before your shift, that coffee with that creamer, it adds up and you're just kind of neglecting it. I did that too for so long. So I'm going to tell you right now, it's not your genetics, it's not your metabolism, it's actually your lack of awareness. Like I mentioned earlier, sauces, creamers to your coffee, quick snacks, they're actually the silent killers that add up over time because it's just something where you're just like, it's just a snack, it's just this. I'm telling you, they add up over time. If you're doing it a couple times a day and then consistently every day for weeks, it adds up because 500 calories a day of untracked foods actually equals 1 pound of fat gain per week. And don't get me wrong, not just neglect it because it's maybe healthy. You can still overeat on healthy foods. So once I actually kind of got an idea of tracking my foods for a couple weeks, I know no one wants to track, right? Get used to the idea of it. Lesson number 6, I used to see myself as the guy who always failed. Every time I quit, it just reinforced my identity. I felt unconfident at work. I felt almost invisible. And honestly, you need to realize though that identity actually comes before results. Who you actually think you are drives you to do what you do. So if you identify as someone who is consistent, who is a role model, who is a leader, missing certain things like maybe a workout, maybe eating bad on your diet, you feel more bad about. And if you want to become that man, that role model, that leader for his family or his future family, then you have to realize that you have to implement these things today with the mindset. You got to tell yourself that I am these things. Your identity will literally change your life because your identity is where you show everywhere else in every aspect of your life. The first thing is I want you to either write down in your notes or on a piece of paper, I am the man who. I'm that person that you want to become, that dream guy that you want to be for so long, who has the abs, who's more lean, who's more disciplined. Write down what he does. I am the man who works out every second day. I am the man who tracks his calories. I am the man who gets up early. I am the man who shows up for his family. And then you're gonna act in alignment with that every day. So if you have to look at that every single day when you wake up to motivate you to know what you're gonna do, then that's what you gotta do. As well as you actually have to celebrate those small wins you have. So those things that you get done throughout the day, celebrate them. Write a check mark at the end of it, right? Before your notes or your journal to know that you actually did that, because it actually reinforces your identity and tells you that you're actually doing something right. The day I became the guy who didn't miss workouts, who didn't rely on motivation, motivation, who did things they didn't want to do but still did them anyways. That shift is what made that 16-week transformation possible. Lesson number 7 is I need the perfect plan. I used to restart every Monday after messing up, trying to find the perfect split, trying to find the perfect food that I like, trying to find the perfect supplements, but none of it actually lasted. What worked was actually simple, repeatable actions that I did consistently to get the results. Because perfection actually kills progress. Simplicity is actually what builds it to become a lifestyle. The simple, sustainable plans is always gonna beat those complex plans. Those ones you see online that works for Bob, Russell, and Jack isn't gonna work for you. You have to find what works for you and stick to it consistently. You also have to accept your mistakes. We all make them, right? I had an ice cream the other day and I don't think of it as a mistake. I fit it in. But you gotta realize that sometimes it's not going to work out. Sometimes you're going to have those days. I have those days. Sometimes I feel like shit and I just don't want to do anything. Accept it. That you messed up that day. You have to get back to it this day. Don't let that spiral you off to thinking to give up, because giving up is not an option for you. And you know that. You do not want to give up. You already have been waiting and wasting so much time. And then I want you to judge your success on actually weeks and months and not days. If you track every single day, that is completely fine. But if you're judging yourself every day and comparing yourself every single day, then you are just literally putting yourself for failure. So what I want you to do is, yeah, you can track your weight every day, but I want you to actually compare your photos of what you look like at least once a week. Just do it once a week at the end of the week. Compare it, see last week, and then you'll actually see if you're actually making the progress. Because if you're taking those photos and you're doing the consistent work that you say you're doing, there is no reason why you shouldn't be making progress. And if you're not, you got to switch up your plan because something's not working. To be honest with you, I didn't get lean because I found the perfect plan that worked for me. I got lean because I actually stopped quitting and I actually started showing up for myself. That's the reason that none of you want to hear, but it's true. So that's how I went from struggling with the love handles, the belly fat, the face fat, to getting a flat, shredded physique in 16 weeks. First off, just boring consistency, fixing your weekends, focusing on actually muscle growth over cardio, sleeping and managing stress, tracking honestly, shifting my identity, and keeping things simple. You ever heard of the acronym KISS? It's real. Keep it simple, stupid. And if you're stuck, just start with one of these a day. If you can implement more, go ahead, write it down, put it in your notes, get after it now, or you're gonna stay stuck. And before you click off this video, I do wanna mention that my name is Evan Tressel. I am an online fitness coach and I mainly run through Instagram, but I like making my videos for YouTube as well. So if this is something that you actually wanna get changed, you wanna get that flat stomach, you wanna get leaner, you want more energy, you wanna be that role model, you wanna start showing yourself and everyone else that you can actually do the things that you say. So I've transformed a bunch of guys' physiques, and if you want to add to that collection, if you want to get out of being stuck and get unstuck with me, I want you to either comment fit in this YouTube video or you're going to DM me fit on Instagram. My Instagram's the same, Evan Tressel. And of course, if you actually like this video, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and even let me know if you want me to break down anything else in the next videos. I'm always trying to get new video ideas, so let me know. And other than that, keep crushing it, and you got this, bro. I believe in you.